And we are live, man. What's going on, everybody? If you love movies as much as we do, man, you are in the right place, man. I'm excited about today's episode, Serge. You know why?
Why? Why
To-
are you so excited? Because
Today is our 10th episode, man. Can you believe it, man?
ooh,
Shit kind of brings a tear to my eye. Speaking of which,
how ironic.
today's episode, we're going to be talking about tear jerkers, man. So, man, what is it? Yep. Tear jerkers is today's episode. So, episode 10 starts now. Yeah, I love what you do with the fucking intros, man. This shit is dope. I love it.
I try to be creative, you know.
Yeah, man. So, what do you call it? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Media Chopper Podcast. If this is your first time here, if you love movies, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel or listening to us anywhere podcasts are heard. We have our show plays on Anchor, Spotify, and stuff like that. Well, I am your man, Rick.
AKA Mr. Nice Guy. And I am Serge, aka Sergerilla.
Yeah, man.
Welcome.
What's going on?
Not much, man. This is a cool episode. At first, I thought you just wanted to show off your sensitive side. But I realized that you don't have to be a softie to get emotional during the movie, because the movies they have a lot playing into it. They got the music that kind of pushes you along. You know, you want to be emotional, and or like they mislead you with certain things, you know. So it's a cool topic.
It doesn't have nothing to do with being a macho man.
No, definitely not.
So I mean, it was cool looking at what kind of movies, the types of movies that make us like feel that kind of way. It's a wide variety. You got animated movies, regular movies, and it's just a large plethora of things. I'm trying to look at the notes. One of the reasons,
I think sometimes when any of us come up with a topic, one person gets an idea, like kind of like the last episode, prison movies, right? And they just think of just strictly a movie, the whole movie's in prison. It doesn't fit that. You know, it's pretty broad, and just like this topic is not just about like, you know, just being emotional because of something. Movies are made that way, you know. So there's certain things, certain buttons that the movies press to get you emotional, to get you choked up, to get you trying to act up. Don't come out, or you know, you don't want your lady looking over to you. Are you crying? No.
allergies.
I'm allergic to popcorn.
Yeah, man. Me personally, I like this topic because I don't really express that kind of emotion in real life. So I think for me, it's like a really, really good opportunity to just let it out and just embrace it. It always feels good after a good cry. I just hate when people try to talk to me. I can't talk when I'm in that moment.
Mm-hmm. I've been there.
I don't make no sense. I got the big lump in my throat.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I was actually like trying to like rehearse for today's show, right? And I'm scared. I'm scared that I'm gonna cry talking about these movies.
I thought about that, and as I was going over certain movies, I was like talking about it, and I was explaining it to some people I know, and I was like, I'm gonna be fine. And then just not too long ago, I started looking at one of the scenes on YouTube, and I caught myself like, I was like, no, that's not allowed. That's not allowed. No.
There's no crying in baseball.
There's crying in movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit. What kind of movie does it for you? What kind of scenario in the movie does it for you? What turns on the emotional sensitivity dial way up?
I would say, I don't know what to call it, but I'll just say sacrificial type of scenarios where a person is sacrificing themselves for the greater good, for someone else, for love. You know, like, damn, this dude's putting himself on a line, or whoever it is, for whatever, you know, that gets me. Sports movies, I've been there. I've played. You put everything on the line. You play through injuries, and you're still like finding a way to win. a movie where everyone against all odds comes together, and the brotherhood and the love shines through on the field. Gets me, bro. It gets me because I've been there. I've played football. It gets me.
What football movie comes to mind when you talk about that? I know when it comes to sacrifice, the first thing that comes to mind is this. You remember this? Terminator 2, man.
Yes, I wouldn't have, bro. I wouldn't have got that. Yeah.
You talk
At
about
the end,
sacrifice.
but he put his thumb through that got to you.
Yeah, man. Because the kid just before that thing, he's like, no, he's telling him, don't do it. You don't gotta do it. And he's trying to make sure there's no trace of the Terminator thing, so that it doesn't get made in the future.
What's funny is that whole movie, Arnold was forced to show no emotion throughout the movie. He's a Terminator. He's not allowed to have any emotion. And if you think about it, that was the only thing that he's done in the whole movie where it was just like, I'll be
okay. Yeah. What was the first movie that ever made you cry?
I can't answer that question. I don't know, man. I can't tell you exactly. I mean, it has to be, one of those early movies in the 80s where I was a little kid and I don't know. There's so many of them. I can't tell you off the top of my head, honestly, man. It's just I really would have to think about that.
No, I get it. That's cool.
It might come to me later, but a lot of those movies were all built to make you like Batteries Not Included. All those movies were just meant to like get you attached to a character that is not from here or whatever, and then all of a sudden they have to go and they bonded. And why can't we stay together? That was me. I was a kid. I was like, I want one of those. I wanted a gizmo, man. I wanted a pet gizmo, and I was like, I wouldn't feed him after midnight, and I want him, and I won't let him get wet. I'll be real good, but
you wouldn't feed him after midnight. Okay. Man, for those of you joining us now, man, consider following us on Facebook, Instagram, and consider subscribing to our channel on YouTube, right? These are the links. You guys can check them out. The links are in the description for those of you who are just following us now.
Just as a reminder, the Media Chop Up Room on Facebook, if you have Facebook, because I realize a lot of people don't, but you can get more bang for your buck because we're allowed to do a little bit more there. We're allowed to show trailers, whereas on YouTube there's certain limitations with that. So, and also we may do movie reviews in there, to if somebody asks for it. So you get more bang for your buck in that room, but nonetheless, you could check us on any of those mediums, YouTube, Facebook, and IG.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, like Serge was saying, man, on Facebook, it's a nice little group of us where we talk about movies, and you guys share a lot of your ideas, and we try to bring those ideas to life. We have we have like a whole backlist of potential shows we're gonna do because you guys are always coming up with some awesome movie ideas. Mm-hmm. You guys be rocking it, man.
I just saw my mom is in the room. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
She'll be watching you.
All right, cool. Yeah, I gotta watch myself. I gotta be nice. I gotta behave. I'll behave, Mom. I'm gonna try to. I'll put a filter on there.
She's gonna have you stuttering now, bro.
I know, right?
I don't even stutter. I don't understand.
Yes. All right. What was the most recent movie to make you cry?
Recent?
Yeah.
Bro, I can't. I don't know, man. Since the baby came, like it's hard to really remember. But I'll tell you, not too long ago, it was before the baby was born.
Mm-hmm.
It was a remake, and Lady Gaga was in that movie, and she was in with Bradley Cooper. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. And first of all, both of them sang in that movie, and it was amazing. They did amazing acting and singing, and it translated. And have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
All right. So, towards the end, obviously, spoiler. If you haven't seen the movie,
yes. Spoiler alert.
Just forward 10 seconds. Yeah, stars. Thank you very much. He battled with depression, and he loved his lady, and she got an opportunity to be a star and be a singer because her voice was amazing, and it was hard to balance the two. And now his career is over, and he wasn't getting that attention. So he towards the end of the movie, he decided to take his life. And there was no way of breathing or looking up. There was no way of stopping it. I was freaking tearing, like in the dark. Are you crying too? I was like, I'm crying. Yes.
Yeah, man.
How
For
about you?
me, I told you recently, man. There was a movie called Instructions Not Included. It's a Hispanic movie with a Hispanic celebrity
Sounds so
actor.
familiar.
Huh?
It sounds so familiar. Maybe because you told me.
No, yeah, it's not batteries not included. It's instructions not included. It's about a father. It's about a father who's he does stunt work as a job, and his daughter's really proud of him because he's in the movie industry and stuff like that. So, he gets involved with this woman, and they have a kid, and the woman decides to no longer be in the picture, so he ends up raising his daughter himself. Throughout the movie, I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to spoil it, but he's going through potentially death, illness, a terminal illness.
Yes, terminal illness.
So it's a plot twist at the end of the movie that really, really caught me off guard and had me yell and cry. I told you about this. I screamed. I yelled at the screen and I was bawling. I was bawling, man. That thing, if you guys haven't seen it, it's not a great movie all the way across, but that ending is worth it for me. That was like, wow, they really did a good job with that. I was taken aback.
Were you getting choked up right now?
A little bit.
Okay, just be real with it.
Yeah, man. So obviously you guys came up with some really great movies inside the Facebook group. You guys mentioned the classics, My Girl, Ghost, The Green Mile, Legends of the Fall, which we talk about today. If Jessica, if you're watching, I know you've been watching, you've been waiting for that review. It's coming. Just be patient with us. We got you today. So you guys mentioned The Notebook, which had me bawling like crazy. How did you feel that way about The Notebook? Did you cry for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that thing had me.
I have that movie in my collection on DVD.
It's crazy.
It's definitely a must-have if you like to collect movies, and in that genre, it is a must-have.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So all right.
There were some great lines in that movie.
Yeah, like what?
And some great. Well, I can't tell you all of them. I know, like
No, obviously.
a lot of memes. Like, what do you want? Just tell me. Like, he was so frustrated, right? it was a perfect meme because like guys are like, what do you want to eat? She's like, I don't know. What do you want? And he's like, what do you want? Like, I'm trying to give you what you want.
And that is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that meme gets used so many times. I give it to my wife because she's guilty of that, man. She's guilty of that because and then they can't make up their mind. But I don't want to veer off track anyway. So we're just gonna jump right into it, man. So what's the first movie we're gonna talk about for you that is a tearjerker that brought out the waterworks?
The movie Warrior. It's an MMA movie.
Okay.
And you wouldn't think that that type of movie would make you tear up, but it was a sad storyline. I got to give you a little bit of background. So two guys in these images right here, Ed Hardy and Joel. I can't say I can't see his last name.
My bad. Yeah, good.
They're brothers. It doesn't matter. They're brothers, and as adults, they no longer talk to each other, and they had a abusive father who was an alcoholic. So there was at some point in their childhood, they were both very heavy into wrestling, and the father was their trainer. He was like the best at it, and these kids will break records, and it was amazing. So at some point they separated the parents, and each parent took a kid. And it was hard because they gave the kids a choice, and one kid didn't want to leave his mother, and the other kid didn't want to say to his father, I don't want to go with you, since the other brother's going with the mother. So he went the other way, and it ended up being the mother ended up getting cancer, and he helped her through it, and eventually she died. And he was very, very bitter because of it, because the brother wasn't there while she was dying, and neither was the father. But they didn't tell him. They didn't tell him, so he didn't know. And he was struggling with alcoholism, and then eventually he quit, and he became a man of God. And now in the future, these guys are fighters, and they all have different circumstances. So the brother Ed Hardy who went with the father, he joined the military. He was a hero, and he saved a bunch of soldiers. And the one on the right, the other brother, is a family man, and he's a school teacher, and he's trying to make ends meet, and he cannot afford his mortgage. So they are about to get evicted, and then he gets fired from his job. He gets let go, and his only way to make money is to fight in these rinky-dink bars. Like, they have like the rings, MMA fights, and he's a really good fighter. He's a sound fighter, and he would win these fights and come home bruised up, and his wife hated it. So later on, they end up going for a competition for like $4 million, and they both really need this money, right? And Ed Hardy wants to get the money for his brother his brother in the military who passed away, and he holds the death of him on his shoulders. Like, he feels like, I got to do something for his family, So he wants that money for them, and the other brother wants that money for his family. So throughout the movie, the Ed Hardy has to reach out to his father, who he has so much anger towards, and he expresses to him that, listen, I'm only here for you to train me. You're not my dad. We're not friends. That's it. You're only good at one thing, and that's training. So he trains him. So throughout the movie, he's just abusing him. Like, he makes him breakfast. I don't want your fucking breakfast. I'm just here to train. I know how to get up on my own. Like, he's very, very, very firm with him. And then towards the end of the movie, the father's going through a lot, and now there's a point where both the sons are making it towards the end, and they're gonna have to fight each other. And the father doesn't want to pick a side, but he got tired of getting abused by the son, and then basically pushed him over, and he started drinking again. And he came back to the room, and he was drunk, and he was just shocked. Like, the son was shocked, because he was like, he was doing so good, and all the emotions start coming out. And who was it? Shit, I forgot who the father was.
I can't remember at all.
Damn, it escapes me at the moment. It doesn't matter. So the son basically grabs his father, because he's just like a mess, and he's just like a drunken mess.
Oh, Nick Nolte?
Nick Nolte, yes, exactly. And he did a good job at playing the drunk father. And he holds him in the bed as a grown man, and he's just holding him tight, and he's not even saying anything to him. And then the father, he feels so bad for everything. He's just crying. I'm so sorry. I'm just sorry, for everything. And he was just getting fucking so emotional. So that got to me, right? And then towards the end, when they're fighting each other, there's a point in the fight where the stronger brother gets injured, and he has him in a submission lock, and he tells him, like, tap, I'm gonna break your arm, tap.
Yep,
right?
I remember that.
He's so firm on not tapping and not giving up, that he's just fighting it, and they break it, and he literally has to fight with one arm. And he can't fight with one arm.
Right.
So there's a point where they're just staring at each other, and they're like, fight, you guys are supposed to fight each other, and this is for the championship. And then he ends up getting him in a submission, and beating him. And then as he beats him, he just holds him, and he goes, I'm sorry, bro, I'm sorry, I love you. And that brotherhood connection, so much on the line, really got to me, man, and it just fucking made me emotional. And
I can hear it cracking your voice. There you go.
There's a bunch of good scenes, actually. There's a scene on the beach where they have a conversation between the brothers, which was very powerful. Very good speeches. Both of them did really good, but that would be my first choice.
All right, man. Not a bad choice. Not a bad start. On a scale from 1 to 4, how would you rate that as far as the saddest moments?
I'd say 3.
3? All right, so you give it 3 crying Jordans? All right, cool.
Sure, yeah, 3 crying Jordans.
All right, cool. So that movie gets 3 crying Jordans on a scale of 1 to 4, man. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit for that. Hold on.
All right. A little missed. I like that.
I would spray you, but I can't.
Please don't. All right, cool. So guess we'll move on to my very first movie, and we are going to go with Armageddon. Have you seen Armageddon?
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Does it do it for you? Is that movie bring down the waterworks.
Does, and it was written that way. It was written that way, and it was an epic movie. A lot was going on in that movie, but they did a good job with that. I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, man. That's I'm just gonna talk about the one team that got me, man. I did not expect that. I thought they were just gonna go with the route that, if you guys haven't seen it, just pause for like 10 seconds for this little spoiler right here. So it's the part where Ben Affleck's character is, he draws the short straw and he's gonna make a sacrifice to save the world.
Yeah, they need someone to stay behind.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen Armageddon, it's about a giant meteor that's going to crash into the Earth, and NASA sends an expedition team into space to explode this meteor so that it doesn't hit the Earth. So part of the team is Bruce Willis's crew, and there's Bruce Willis's oil crew, and Ben Affleck is one of his employees who falls in love with his daughter. So there's a relationship that Bruce Willis doesn't approve of. So he's constantly in a back and forth with Ben Affleck's character. So Ben Affleck's character goes with Bruce Willis into space and leaving Bruce Willis's daughter behind. So, obviously the daughter wants him to come back. And my son brought me a water bottle so I can get some misty eye too.
Nice. Way to go, man.
Yeah, right? He's like creeping into the room. So anyway, they go into space and it gets, it's game time and they have to draw straws because the explosive device is not working properly. So someone has to stay behind and do it manually. So he draws the short straw, So he like, shit, he's not going to see his girl no more. So Bruce Willis says, I'll walk him down. And he sets him up, pulls the oxygen tank from him and puts him in the elevator. And Ben Affleck, he performed the shit out of that, man. I was balling. I was balling, man. So
yeah, and then he said something to him as he was going, like, please don't. And he was like,
yeah, he was like, no, don't do this, Harry, please, no, it's my job. Your job's to take care of my daughter now. I love you, Harry. I love you. Oh man. Yeah.
Freaking softy.
Absolutely, man. So that one, I would definitely also have to give it 3 crying Jordans, man.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, 3 crying Jordans for that one.
I wonder what put you over the top, but okay. Well, I guess
it's not much.
There's gonna be puppies. Puppies. I can't see puppies abused.
Not the puppies.
Some people are so emotionally attached to animals and obviously babies, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like in The Rock, they show like a chase scene and then someone pushes out a carriage and they're like, no, not the baby, and then there's like a bunch of bottles in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they're playing with people's emotions because that's a soft spot,
Yeah, man. All right, so movie number 2, what are we going with?
I don't remember. I chose a lot.
I'll put it up. I got you. So right here, you went with Man on Fire.
Man on Fire, Denzel Washington. Yeah. Great movie. Denzel was a soldier that he had issues with a lot of stuff he had to do as a soldier, and he carried the weight and burden of that. And he's one of those guys who he made it back and wish he didn't. So it takes place, I believe, in Mexico, right? And Mark Anthony has to protect his daughter. He married this white woman, and Peter is the daughter, and kidnapping is real big over there. So he was a prominent figure, and they knew that they needed security for this girl. But Peter, they had to make it so Peter liked the security detail. So ironically, you hire Denzel, a dude who's basically emotionless. So you would think that combo wouldn't like each other, but he ended up being softened up by that little girl and really liking her. And towards the end, like, she ends up getting kidnapped, and he just basically does what he does. It's kind of what he does in the other movies as well.
Yeah. It's a Denzel script.
Yeah. So he's basically just chasing this guy down and killing all his guys, and he's like, he talks to the guy on the phone, and he's like, "Hey, you see this money right here? Gone." And he's like, the guy's like, "I'll pay you whatever. I'll pay you whatever." Nah, he finds the guy's kids. He finds his wife, one of his wives, and he's just basically killing these people ruthlessly. Like, listen, okay, you took Peter, okay, now you're gonna pay. So he's just bringing hellfire on this guy, and the guy gets him on the phone, and he goes, "How about I give you Peter?" And he was like, "What do you mean, Peter? Peter's not alive, right?" Because he's thinking that she's dead because the switch with the money got screwed up,
Right.
and now he goes, "You ask her this question. You ask her this question that only she would know." And she had a nickname. He was like, "What's the nickname of the bear?"
Bear.
Right?
Yeah.
And she had a bear, and she called it because Creasy
Yeah.
Bear, right?
Yeah.
After him.
Mm-hmm.
So once he heard that, he was like, "All right,
Proof of
I'll,
life.
I'll meet you," right? So he basically puts his life on the line and sacrifices himself. And while he was just taking all these bad guys down, he got shot, and he basically hit it. He hit it, and he was bleeding slowly out, and he has to cross this bridge where Peter will run to her mother, and then he will go into the arms of all the bad guys, and they will definitely kill him. And
He
he
was
knew
dying anyway.
he was okay. He was like, "I'm all right."
Yeah.
So he sees her on the bridge, man, and then she's like, thank you, Creasy. Oh my God. Like, and she's almost like speaking to him as if, "You're coming with me, right? You're coming with me." He's like, "I'll be
Mhm.
there. I'll be there. I'll be with you." But he knows that, I'm not making it. I'm not making it out of this. So he goes to the car. He's sitting in the back of the car, driving him to his demise, and he's just staring out the window, and
Yep.
he's bleeding out. But that scene caught me, man, because like, it's like I said before, it's a sacrificial type of scenario where it's for the greater good. He's putting his life on the line.
That was
So
before you had a kid. Imagine watching that movie now, brother.
yeah, definitely,
Game over.
definitely. So yeah, that movie definitely got me.
All right,
And
so that movie, how many crying Jordans for that one? 1 to 4.
3.
All right, cool. 3 crying Jordans.
3.
Absolutely.
Give myself 3
well, yeah, for those of you who are watching, man, what do you guys think about these movies? I'd love to hear some of your opinions. If you see, I know some of you guys wrote, what do you got here? Marmar put up Fast and Furious, the last Paul Walker movie, finished halfway. She couldn't stop crying.
Really?
I get it. Yeah, that was a preemptive cry. Like, you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
Like,
and they were going to have an emotional ending somehow. And
exactly.
they had the music. I didn't really like the ending.
I cried at the CGI. That shit was terrible.
Well, they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, exactly.
The brother, like once I knew that the brother was going to be filling in for certain scenes, I was just watching for him. I was like,
yeah, exactly. You could tell.
Yeah,
you could definitely tell.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so man, this is my second movie, man, and you might not know this one. I'm pretty sure you don't know it. So it is a movie called Courageous.
Nope.
I know you don't.
Nope.
It's actually a faith-based movie, but you don't have to be religious to appreciate the movie for what it is, because the story is still very, very, very powerful story.
Mm-hmm.
It's about parents and being present in your children's life and being at the forefront of the father figure, and just being able to show them just being present in your kid's life. So these 4 guys, right? They're friends, they're police officers, and they're struggling, trying to become, to be the best versions of themselves. They all have different stories about how they were raised and how it affects the way that they raise their kids. One guy, his father was never around, so he promised to never be like his dad, and he was trying to be the best father for his kid. Another one, he left. He abandoned his kid, and he's starting to feel some kind of way about it. And then the main actor in this, the main character in this movie, he has 2 kids, right? And you can tell throughout the movie that he's favoring his little daughter over the older kid, and the older kid is trying to find a way to connect with his dad. He's into running, and he wants to spend time with his dad. He wants his dad to go with him running. So throughout the movie, yeah, it's crazy.
You gotta pace yourself.
Yeah, because it's something that it's a thought that any parent really struggles with. Like, what would you do if this happens to you? So he gives his daughter permission to go on a sleepover, and she gets into a car accident and she dies. So in the movie, he's struggling with that because there was a scene where she asked him to dance with her in the parking lot, and he was embarrassed about it. You know, you don't do that in public. You know, it's something that you don't do. You know, people watching, and you know, he's reminiscing about that scene. So he's struggling with that idea. You know, he's a religious man. He's telling, you know, he's trying to grieve, and he goes to his pastor to try to have this conversation with his pastor. And his pastor tells him something that I hope that I can incorporate in my life. And he says, you know, are you going to be angry with God for the time that you didn't have, or grateful for the time that you did?
Mm.
So, you know, he takes that and he's still struggling with it. He goes back to the parking lot and he dances by himself.
Wow.
And he's asking, he tells the guy, you know, he's praying to God. He tells God, you know, I know it doesn't work this way, but, you know, could you tell her I did my half of the dance?
Yeah.
And that's so tough, man. And he starts trying to build his relationship with his son. He starts, you know, trying to be more present in his son's life, and you know, starts doing the running with him, and just it's a crazy powerful movie, man.
I can feel it already. I already know. I definitely want to watch that. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
I can tell you're a really good actor, man, because you know you were really crying, even though you knew you were going to talk about this. Pull that off, because
oh shit, that's just tough to talk about. Just knowing, I mean,
that's tough.
I could put myself there, man. If my kid died, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can be grateful for the time that I had with him, because you want them forever, right? You want to be, you know, nobody wants to bury their kids. So for me, that was an easy 4 Jordans. Easy 4 crying Jordans, man.
Absolutely, I can see that. Yeah, just you explaining it alone had too many pressure points where it was just gonna make you just really start bawling. So my question is, when you watched it, you were just like,
oh man, I was
both tears on both sides. Yeah,
unconsolable, man. I was unconsolable. It was tough, man, because you know, it's not just the scene. Like, you imagine, like, if that was you, how do you move on with your life?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. Anything that has to do with kids and parenting, and kids having to go through some kind of struggle, it gets to me, man. And Courageous is just one of those movies that does it for me, man.
I just thought about it. What's that movie? Traffic.
Yeah.
Remember Traffic? Where there was a lot going on in that movie, but there was a point where there was a shopkeeper who got robbed, and then the door was broken, and they had a gun, and then the daughter bought him 2 sets of bullets, and he thought the guy who went to fix his lock robbed him, I believe. He confronted him in front of his house, and he had this bond with his daughter, where he was just like, you know, I'm gonna put this veil on you, and this veil is gonna keep you safe. And she believed it. She's like, yeah, I got the veil on. I feel good. He's like, you feel good? He's like, I feel good. And then the old man pulled out the gun to shoot him, and the girl ran in the way.
Oh man, thinking that she was bulletproof, right? Something like that.
And exactly. And he was just like, oh shit. He was like, baby. And then you find out that the daughter knew how the father was, and she couldn't really trust him, and she bought him a box of blanks.
Wow.
And you know, and the guy was just in shock. He was like, oh shit, I shot a kid. Like, wow. Like, it just popped in my head. Like, that caught me. That definitely.
You see? Definitely. Yeah. Someone else mentioned that. Anything that has to do with parents and kids, like, Feel the Dreams. I get this part too. When he has the last catch with his dad, the young version of his dad, it was pretty cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that definitely had, you know, 4 crying Jordans, man. So we're gonna move right on to movie number 3, which is My Girl, one of the classics that was in the Facebook group. Good choice, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember watching that on cable, and I would order it, and then it would come on the cable box, right? I remember I lived in Manhattan at the time. I was a kid watching it, and it was just like this. The scene Crash status. Absolutely.
That was the movie you were talking about. From the scene from Crash, they were saying.
Yeah. So you know, Macaulay Culkin and I don't know the girl's name. I forgot the girl's name. I'm sorry. But it's friendship, and it was like during the summer, and I was watching it during the summer, and they run out into the woods and do the silliest little things, and one of the time she found out that he was allergic to bees, but one of the times he went out without her, she lost her mood ring, and she was like, my mood ring, I lost my mood ring. And she was so upset, and he went out there by himself to find the mood ring, and he found it, but he didn't realize that there was a broken beehive on the floor nearby there, and he ended up rustling it up, and the bees started swarming on him and stinging him, and he died. And
allergic.
And ironically, like the little girl's dad, which was Dan Aykroyd, they in their house they had a what is it called? A funeral.
Yeah.
And they used to do wakes and eulogies and all that stuff, and so they had Macaulay Culkin's wake there, and she was just, you know, she didn't want to leave her room, and she was just going through a really hard time, and she was in denial. And I have the words here what she said. So she hears it, like hear them talking about it, and then she comes down, right? Let me see. She comes down and she goes, like, as if he's still alive. She's talking to him, bro. Like, you want to go tree climbing, Thomas J? His face hurts. Where are his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. Put his glasses on. Like, she's so upset, right? Put on his glasses. And while she was doing that, she was being restrained. And in all honesty, like, she knew he was there, but that was her way of coming to terms. Like, wow, he is no longer here. So she was talking to him, and they couldn't console her, and she just ran off. And then eventually she came around and she was able to talk to her dad about it. But that scene right there, as a young kid, man, was screwed me up, man. I was crying for Macaulay Culkin because he wasn't home.
I like this. Not a tearjerker scene, but I remember this scene. Do you like seafood? Yeah. She opens mouth to show the food.
Yeah.
Seafood. Seafood.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great kids movie, and
that's not a kids movie, man. Kids don't know how to deal with death like that.
It's a kids movie because it's a story about two young kids.
All right, say it that way.
It's content. I was just saying it was a story about these two kids, man. I'm Matthew watching. That's what I'm saying. I just said it was a story about kids, okay?
Yeah, good. All right. So, what do you give that movie? How many crying Jordans did this movie get?
Tough one. I'll give it 2.
All right. 2 crying Jordans, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely worthy of a cry.
I'm gonna send this link over to Jordan, by the way.
He's gonna be like, I ain't want to do it again.
I just realized Julia was the one who said, "Do you like seafood?" I'm impressed.
Oh yeah.
I'm impressed you remember that.
Yeah. That's a good scene. All right, now we go on to my third movie, which City of Angels, man. Did you see it?
I did a long time ago. I don't remember too much about it.
Man, if you don't remember crying, then you don't remember the good part or the worst part.
Let
me just see what someone said here. People forget it was about family dynamics. I love that the dad who taught her everything about love. Remember, she didn't have a mother figure too. Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
I forgot that the mother wasn't in the picture in that movie.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it was interesting because he had a young little girl that was growing up that summer, and he really had no idea. I think she got her period. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
they had to
Show says your movie develops 4 crying Jordans.
4? I don't know. You gotta save that 4. You gotta save something really like I cried, right? 4.
But did you ugly cry?
You're choking on nothing. And you got tears coming from your face is ready, your eyes are swollen. That's 4. I cried, and that was it. So I'll up it to 3, but okay.
All right. I agree, man. Nicolas Cage killed it. So in City of Angels, obviously, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's literally about angels that watch over people, and the female lead in this movie, she's a doctor, and Nicolas Cage is always he was actually there there's always an angel there for the when someone passes, and that's the way they portrayed it in the movie. So in one scene, she's fighting for a little girl's life, and he's there, and he says something, and she responds, or at least he thinks that she responds, or he wants to receive it like it was her response. So he falls in love with her, and he's constantly following her, and then he you can only see an angel if they want you to see them. So eventually he allows it so that she can see him, and they start having this relationship. He doesn't reveal that he's an angel to her right away. So as they have this relationship, he's falling in love with her. You have an angel falling in love with a human. So he wants to have a real relationship with her, but he didn't know it was possible. But he finds out that it's actually just possible. You can give up your ability to be an angel to become human and feel human things. You're going to lose all the benefits of being an angel. So he decides to make this choice and have a relationship with this woman. He gives up all the glory of heaven and God to experience love as a human. And it does not last long. Spoiler alert.
Oh man.
Yeah, and that scene, man, it's so heartbreaking, man. He gives up, the best that we can hope for when we die, is to have everlasting life and freaking feel no pain and just experience these amazing pleasures. It goes to the oceans and you hear the singing of the angels in the oceans, and to give all that up, man, for love, and then to only have it ripped away with you, stuff like that. That's kind of things that really make you question your faith. Those are the things in life that really make you. And this is an angel, he knows, as far as the movie's concerned, that God exists. And how would you feel?
How would I feel? What?
If you was a Nicolas Cage's Scrooge, right? You was one of God's angels, right? You sacrificed your perfect, you know, your life, your to become human, to experience love, and it gets taken away from you.
Devastated. They say love can make you fly, and it does amazing things. So like even the promise of love is very, very, very enticing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a tough decision, and especially not knowing, taking the gamble, because it's all a gamble.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean,
Jay,
again, it was a powerful, huh?
Jay wrote yeah, that movie made me a Nicolas Cage fan. What's up, Jay?
Yeah, he did his thing. So that was a pretty powerful movie. I did cry. I gave it between 2 and 3 crying Jordans, man. We're gonna give it 3 crying Jordans.
Okay.
It's not terrible.
Everything's getting 3 pretty much. Okay.
Yeah. We saved the best for a little later.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go on to your movie number 4, which is $1 Million Baby.
Yes. Very good movie, great cast. You have Clint Eastwood, you have Morgan Freeman, and what's her name? I always forget her name.
Oh, how can we forget?
I forget her.
I'll do a quick search. $1 Million Baby, real quick.
All right, so if you haven't seen this movie, it's they're in an old school boxing gym and barely making ends meet.
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank. Thank you very much.
You got it.
In that Karate Kid movie, I'm just saying, right? Casted her, right? But I don't even know why they wrote that movie. But that's exactly. Thank you guys. So boxing gym, and she is she's in her 30s, past her prime. Like hasn't boxed her whole life. She's just kind of just doing it just to get, be athletic, and she has a lot of respect. And Clint Eastwood ends up losing his prime boxer who had an opportunity to get a title, but he was basically protecting him. So he didn't want him to jump into a situation that he wasn't ready for too soon. So like the guy wanted a title fight. He said, "Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming." He's basically protecting him, but at some point you have to let him take risks. So his boxer ends up leaving him, and he's pissed off about it and everything, but he's just always grumpy. And Hilary Swank wants him to train her, and he's like, train a girl? Crazy. He's like real old school, old guy, old man. So she somehow entices him, and she ends up being really good, and she starts fighting, and she starts knocking people out really fast. Like, she actually really paid attention, and her level of focus, and she was a really good boxer. So she wouldn't make it out of the first round for a while. She was definitely gifted, and she ended up moving up and fighting for, was it a title? I don't know. It was like a very, very, very tough opponent who was
Right.
very dirty. Who was very dirty. I don't think she was from this country, and she was known to like doing stuff behind the back of the ref and stuff like that. So she did her studying to she basically saved all her money. She didn't spend anything, and she bought a house for her mother, who was she was trailer trash, and
Big time.
mother did not care about her at all, and all she cared about was getting her check from welfare.
Yeah, it
So
was terrible.
Hilary Swank, as a good daughter, bought her a house, and she was like, "No, I can't take this house. It's gonna mess up my checks." And she was like, "No, mom, I paid for this house outright. It's under my name."
Yep.
And she was like, "I don't want this house." No, she'd rather live in slums because she wants to get her check, because they basically live off the system. So she just wanted her approval, and she didn't approve of her fighting a girl getting bruised up, and she just wanted her mother to come to a fight. And throughout the movie, the bond between trainer and fighter ends up becoming almost like a father and daughter. Like, he ended up loving her like a father. And
Right.
he fights. Spoiler coming up. She fights, and she's doing really good against this girl, and this other girl was undefeated, knocking people out, but she was also very dirty. And there's a point where she's pissed off that Hilary Swank was doing so well against her. So when the round broke and she went back, she turned her back towards her corner, and then she gave her a punch in the back of the head that sent her falling forward. Now, as soon as the bell rings, you pull out the wooden bench,
The stool.
stool, and she fell on it in a way where it broke her neck and paralyzed her, and she was never able to walk again or move. So she's in the hospital, and she's dealing with things, and Clint Eastwood is the only one there. And when the mother showed up with the family, she showed up strictly to get a signature, so they can get her benefits. Right?
Terrible.
Crazy,
Terrible.
right? And Clint Eastwood couldn't understand it. He almost wanted to speak up, but what's his place? That's not his place. That's not his family.
Yeah. Yep.
So it gets to a point where, like, bro, all she could do is talk. She's in this bed for the rest of her life, and she decides that she doesn't want to go on anymore. And it's a very, very, very sensitive topic. And
Yeah.
she tells him, "Boss, I don't want to go on anymore." And he's like, "Don't talk like that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it." And he ended up giving her a name, a Gaelic name, and then
Mm.
it became her, and everyone started cheering her on with it, but she had no idea what it stood for. And then he eventually told her, and it was like, very touching. And at the end, he had to decide that he was gonna take her out of her misery, because he had to protect her. And it was a very, very, very emotional scene, because nobody wants to be put in that position. Nobody wants to be put in that position, but they didn't want. You also don't want to see that person you love suffer so badly. So
Yeah.
that movie definitely got to me, and it definitely made me emotional.
That was heartbreaking. Is that worthy? Is that worthy of the fourth Crying Jordan?
No, no,
No, not yet. How many?
three.
Three?
Three.
Three Crying Jordans for $1 Million Baby, man. I agree.
Jordan for three.
A very rare three, unless it was against the Blazers.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Could you make that choice, man? Like, to pull the plug?
I can't. I don't think I could. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be put in that position, but I can't answer that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really tough, man. That's hard choice for any.
Yeah.
Again, a parent to make. He wasn't her father, but he was a father figure.
Mhm.
So, man,
Hey, Xavier, what's up, man?
Yep. All right. So now we are down to my fourth pick, and we're gonna go with American History X. Man, might
Hmm.
not consider it a tearjerker.
Yeah, I wonder what made you cry in that. Oh,
Oh
tear.
man. Yep. Spoiler alert. It is the very end of the movie, man. This movie deals with a very serious topic of racism
Yeah,
and these two brothers, they were conditioned by their parents to be racist, more so the older brother, and then he taught it to his younger brother, and then he gets locked up. I'm just giving you a quick synopsis. I'm not going to give you all the details, but in case you guys haven't watched it. So he's like a true, like, at first the brother wasn't a racist. First he was all about equality. He was learning about, he actually was a fan of this black professor. His father's the one that put in his head with the whole concept of racism, and how
yeah.
you
Ed,
talked to huh
Ed Norton.
yeah yeah, he was the son,
Yeah.
at at the time he was really young. So dealing with racism, and they do a lot of stuff. They touch on a lot of things, and he, obviously he commits murder, ends up getting locked up, and ends up he finds out that there's no real loyalty with the whole KKK thing in prison. It's not the same thing as it is. The racism on the inside is not as prevalent as it is on the outside, as far as the movie's concerned. He ends up having one of his best friends in prison being a black guy. So he immediately like did a U-turn, and he comes out of jail, and he finds out that his brother is like his younger brother, who's really really smart, is taking after him and trying to recruit him,
Mm,
because he was like this big racist figure in the cult. And his brother said, and he's trying to tell him that this shit ain't, this is all bullshit, it's not real, they don't stand for nothing. So he's trying to definitely like walk his brother in the right path. So towards the end, he finally gets him to start, focusing on school and doing the right thing, and forgetting about that whole,
you know.
racist culture and lifestyle. And that little brother was gotten some beef with a black kid in the school, and when he was about to turn in his report, he gets shot. And Edward Norton gets to the school. He sees the police going by. He has to run to the school, and he has to hold his brother in his arm. That he tried to save him from that life, and ultimately that life caught up to him.
Mm,
So that scene right there was crazy, man. Just watching it, could you imagine having to hold your brother in your arms after you try to nurture him and steer him he just looked up to you so hard, and he finally knocked some sense into him, and
mm.
the streets still got him.
Movie, man, and like Ed Norton, I remember watching it, and when he that scene where he got into the altercation with the guy on the curb.
Oh, with the curb stomp.
Powerful, powerful scene. Like I
I I never even heard of that before that movie.
yeah, and neither did I. And you know, he had so much hate in his heart, and to see how he had all that hate in his heart and went to prison, and then he started kind of like reevaluating his life and his decisions, and what that hate does for him. It doesn't do anything for him, and the purpose of it, you know. And then when speaking with that other inmate, it obviously changed his heart.
Yeah,
And he came out and he didn't want to affiliate himself with that anymore. He's like, listen, I respect what you guys do, but I don't want to do it. You know,
right.
but his brother obviously clear too.
Yeah,
That was a very, very powerful movie, man. I remember watching it a long time ago, and it leaving a lasting impression on me.
yeah.
Mhm.
For me, it definitely gets a strong three crying Jordans, man.
Yeah.
Definitely get the strong three crying Jordans.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Okay. Got you.
All right, man. And I guess for the fifth movie, right? We're gonna move these out of the way, right? So for your fifth movie, you selected I Am Legend.
Legend. Yes. Yes. Great movie. I truly enjoyed it. You know, I got excited the other day. Briefly, I was scrolling through Facebook, and someone said, "Oh, there's a sequel," and I foolishly clicked it, and I clicked on. Right? I was like, no way, but let me see it. And then it was a fan. You got to read. You know, it said a fan sequel, whatever they call it, and
Yeah,
basically fans
it's
put,
fan made.
yeah, they put together scenes that don't belong, and they make it look really cool. But I'm like, I've seen this movie before, and then I'm like, oh, caught me. Right.
Got you.
So I Am Legend. So it's basically based in New York, and Will Smith is a scientist, and it seems that he's the almost like the last man on the planet left. It's just
Yeah.
him and his dog, and there's these zombies, these creatures that people were turned into, that for whatever reason they can't be out in the light.
Mm.
So he has the whole city at his disposal. So like he has this amazing bond with his dog, and what keeps him going is that he's doing it for human. He's trying to come up with a cure for humanity, and hopefully, well, no, he can't really be reunited with his daughter because of how they got separated and what happened there.
Mhm.
But he has this amazing bond with his dog, and as the movie progresses, he sets up some booby traps so he can capture one of the zombies, so he can take it home with him, so he can test it, the test the serum. And the serum, all his serums, he records everything. All his serums usually start off good, and then they end up it doesn't help him.
Right.
So these zombies ended up being really smart, and they actually set up a trap for him, and he ended up getting knocked out and being getting caught and being hung. And when he came to, it was getting dark, and when it gets dark,
Yes.
these zombies come out, and you're done.
Freaks
So
come out at night.
his dog, he had, I think he had a, what kind of dog was it? It was a
German Shepherd.
German Shepherd, and the dog's barking, 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 and then eventually he gets enough energy to cut himself down, and he's injured, and he's like dazed, and now the sun sets, and these monsters come right at him. And there's these zombie dogs, and the dog is just basically protecting him, right? So through the altercation, the dog gets injured, he's infected, and he gets away, and he takes the dog home, and he gives the dog the serum. And he's like, to calm the dog down, he holds the dog in his arms, and he's singing a Bob Marley song, and he's just basically singing in his ear, "Don't worry about a thing." He's just trying to calm his dog down, and the dog starts breathing faster, 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 and his teeth start getting larger, and he continues to be a zombie, and there was no saving him. So at this point, the dog is trying to get out of his arms to attack him, and at that point, he realizes, I have to kill my dog. So he basically strangles his dog while he's just looking up at the ceiling crying. And that scene, man, you're like, why his only friend, man? Why his only friend, and he kills the dog, man. And I got so emotional watching that, and I understood why, but I was mad at myself for getting so emotional during that scene, because like I said, some soft spots, animals, babies, families, obviously, right? The loyalty of a dog, how the dog put himself out there for you to protect you, it goes a long way. So that movie definitely did it for me.
So does that?
The next day, he was like dealing with the loss of his dog, but he's not normal in the way he interacts. It's almost like he forgot how to interact. So there's these like mannequins throughout the city, and he goes, while he's like, you can tell he's messed up in the head, he goes to the video store, and he's talking about his dog. He goes, "My friend told me to talk to you." Like it was a female mannequin, and he's thinking he's flirting with a girl through the advice of his dog. And he's like, "My friend told me to talk to you." He's like so awkward, but you can tell he was still choked up and emotional over the loss of his dog, and he was just doing something that he felt like they had a conversation about. Yeah.
Yeah. She agrees. Yo, saddest scene was Marley and me when Marley had to be put down. Same situation, man. See, people feel you, man. People feel you.
Thanks, man.
So does this one get the 4 crying Jordans? Does it?
Oh, tree.
All right. Tree crying Jordans.
I would say 2.5.
2.5.
2.5, close to 3. Yeah.
All right, cool. No 4 stars for you. I mean, maybe your honorable mentions get a 4th star. I don't know.
Maybe I might change your heart.
All right. I am gonna switch it up on you guys real quick. For me, I'm gonna go with an animated movie, man.
I never seen it.
Big Hero 6, man. It has a lot of sentimental value.
Disney does it a lot to people, no?
Yeah. But this my son was 2 years old when this movie came out. This is the first movie I ever took him to go see in the theater. Movie is called Big Hero 6. We went to the theater 6 times to see this movie. He loved this movie so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So there's a couple of scenes in this movie that are tearjerkers, two that come to mind, but the one that really gets me, man, and I don't want to, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it. This is a scene at the end of the movie where, damn, I don't want to talk about it, but I'll talk about another scene. So anyway, in Big Hero 6, he's a really smart tech genius, and he has an older brother that goes to this tech school, and he's like a big deal. But he dropped out of school, and he does like this whole robot competitions, and he's kind of a little bit of a genius. He's an engineer. He creates robots, and he does robot fighting, illegal robot fighting for money on the side. So his brother's trying to get him to do something. He wants him to do something with that big brain of his. So he tricks him. He says, "Look, I'll take you," because he gets in trouble with the cops with the robot fighting. Right? He does a lot of like side hustles. He be hustling people because he makes them think that he has a weak robot, and then he tries to get them to put more money on the line. Then he steps his game up. He hems them up with his robot. So his brother, he doesn't like school at all. So his brother tricked him. He was like, "All right, look, I'll take you to your next robot fighting. I just got to stop by my school real quick to pick up some equipment." Right? Is the trick though? He wanted him to see how cool the school was.
Yeah.
So in that school, he falls in love because all the people that he hangs out with are doing some really, high-end stuff with technology. They're building stuff, and he's like, this is his thing. This is what he loves. He's like, I have to go to this school. So, he something happens where later on where the school catches fire, his brother goes back to save one of the teachers and ends up dying. So, his brother created this robot. Mm-hmm. So he eventually gets this relationship with the robot, and later on, there's a scene where I can't talk about it. I'm really in the movie. It's definitely a tearjerker. It definitely is gonna have you bawling. If you haven't seen Big Hero 6, go check it out.
I just remembered.
Yeah,
I just remembered. You asked me the one of the first movies to make me cry.
Oh, which one was it?
The Land Before Time.
Oh, really? The first one to make you cry?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this one is definitely gonna get 4 crying Jordans from me, bro, for sure. Not just that, man. It gets 4 crying Jordans, and it gets the ugly baby cry face, man, for sure.
I knew it. That face is classic, yo.
Yeah, man.
It was in awe.
I was like, wow.
Definitely.
4 crying Jordans and the ugly baby cry face.
Yeah, you got 2 people that said absolutely Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a new dad, man, so I haven't really gotten into all the Disney movies, but I absolutely I'm willing, and I guess I'll be going down those roads. But Disney,
yeah,
they cue that up like all the time.
Yeah, I really thought that the I Am Legend was gonna do it for you.
Absolutely.
Oh, so he hasn't seen it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. He hasn't seen it. All Dogs Go to Heaven is really good too. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that I Am Legend was the one for you. So I was gonna put this one up for you. Hold on, where is it? I thought it was gonna be the 4 crying Jonas and a crying LeBron.
Well, it's coming.
Yeah.
I'll think of something.
All right, so before we mentioned some honorable mentions, man, again, I want to let you guys know, for those of you who are watching, man, you can check us out on YouTube, Media Chop Up. The link is in the description below. You can also follow us on Instagram, which is media_chop_up_podcast. And you can follow us in our Facebook group at Media Chop Up Podcast. Join the group. We have great discussion. We share a lot of content pertaining to movies, and we just have a really, really good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Movies are great.
We
call it Media Chop Up, so we're not just kind of pigeonholed into just talking about one medium, series, animes, like different things. It's all media.
Yeah, multimedia for sure.
Yep.
So what's some other honorable mentions? I don't have no imagery for stuff like that, but you said you wanted to share some
Some honorable mentions. There's so many movies, bro. There's so many movies that definitely touch you, but emotionally. But Big Daddy when they took the kid away from him.
Oh man, I forgot about that one. That shit had me balling, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Give me a second, Todd. Just I gotta take this real quick, so you can go ahead and handle that.
So my my honorable mention, which should have been one of my main choices, but sometimes you get so overwhelmed. There's so many movies to talk about. Would be the movie The Abyss. Now, The Abyss, hopefully you guys have seen it. Is definitely not what you expect it to be, right? And it's a movie. Uh, it's a movie about. It's weird to say this. It's a movie about aliens, but you don't really expect it to be. So, there's these people who are underwater scientists of some kind. I think they dig underwater, and they're like on the brim of the abyss, the hole that goes further down than any man can go with any submarine or anything because of the water pressure. So, there's a couple scenes in this movie that absolutely do it to me. There's one scene which I would like to show you. And there was this couple, Ed Harris, that were like basically they were married, but they weren't really living together anymore, and they were about to get a divorce, but they worked together. So there was a lot going on underwater. There was a storm going on up there. Sometimes the pressure gets to you, and it makes you crazy. And there was some Marines or some soldiers down there that were there to obtain something. That the guy got a little crazy and he was hiding the signs. Hey, what's up, Matt? He was hiding the signs of that was showing. So he was the only one that had a gun, and there was a scene where they each take these underwater vehicles out, and they were chasing him, and then they started attacking each other with these like machines, and Ed Harris was with his wife, and it gets to a point where their vehicle, underwater vehicle, is so damaged, it's taking on water, and there's no way to get back to the base, and they were forced to face a real life realization of one of us is going to die. So they only had one underwater suit, and as the man, he's like, you go, I'll be all right. And she's like, no, no, you go, and I'll be all right. And then she, they're very smart. So she goes, I have an idea. She goes, I drown, and since you're the strongest swimmer, we'll radio back to them at the base and tell them to have everything ready to try to resuscitate me. So the game plan was, while he has his spacesuit on and there's water and it's freezing and it's getting higher and higher and higher, and if you think about it, man, that's a serious fear of somebody drowning, and especially in an enclosed place where your head is just right here, you can't really, there's nothing you could do physically to get away from that. The water's getting higher and higher. He has to literally watch his wife drown face to face. So then they get back and then they resuscitate. But they did an amazing job. If you allow me to share that, I have it.
Yeah.
It's a long scene, and ironically, they actually called this. This is from 1989, Abyss 1989, best scene. There was a lot. They were working on her for a while, and she was definitely not coming back. She was like blue, and that scene, bro, it got me. And so that's the first scene that they got me in that movie, and I'm just like emotional, and I'm crying. And then later on, there's a nuclear sub, there's a nuclear weapon that ended up falling down the abyss, and they had to go down there to be able to obtain it. So he went down there, but he can't go down too far in that vehicle because the pressure will mess up everything. So he goes down there to obtain it, and they're monitoring his oxygen, and he realizes that he's out of oxygen. So his wife's like, get up here, swim back. And he's like, no, baby. And at that point, he realizes, I knew what I was getting into, and it's okay. I'm okay with it. And she was crying so hard. And she was like, you come back up here right now, right now. And then he can't talk because he's that far deep and he's in a suit that literally has liquid in it. So he can't speak with words. So he's literally typing all this and she's looking at it at a screen and she's yelling at him. And there's a microphone where he can hear. And that scene, right after that, I thought I was crying for the first scene. That second scene caught me because he's like, yo, listen, I knew what I was getting into. I sacrificed myself for everyone up there because that nuclear warhead, could have really caused a lot of deaths. So, and then the rest of the movie happens. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's a long movie, but check it out if you can.
Yeah, man, we're coming to a close, but I wanted to mention one more honorable mention was Mighty Joe Young, but I don't want to get into it right now because we got to close and we have to do the review of Legends of the Fall as promised.
So what do I rate it? I rated 4 cries. Spray myself all up in the face for that one. 4 cries. It definitely hit me, man. I enjoyed that movie.
I definitely got 4 cries. All right, that movie pissed me off, bro.
Which one?
That movie, Legends of the Fall.
Okay.
That movie had me stressed out. I mean, it was a fantastic movie. It touched on so many different aspects, man. You had the relationship between the father and the sons, and you had the different dynamics from the 3 different sons, and then you have the variable, that the other variable, which is this woman, right? She comes into the picture. And for one, they're just phenomenal performances by all the actors on the scene. But you had the younger brother who comes home with the this lady, right? And as soon as she gets off the train, the older brother is smitten. He's not even hiding it. Brad Pitt had to hit him like, dude, that shit, little brother's shorty. But obviously, he was feeling her from the beginning, right?
Many women for them to even fall in love with. Like they all saw one woman. They all got Google.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Pitt was. He was feeling her, but he had this suave about him, right? But he could tell that she was feeling him because it's this whole love triangle thing that just had me stressed out, bro. Stressed out. I'm like, it's the whole, nice guys finish last type of scenario, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what I liked about the movie was the dynamic between, as a parent, right? The father had gone to war, so he understood, the seriousness of war. So he wanted to keep his kids away from that lifestyle. Away from that thing, but the little brother, he saw some stuff in the news and he felt like he had to do his part. He said his father did his part, so he wanted to do his part. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to talk them out of it. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to enlist. I feel like I have to do my part. And this might sound stupid, but it pissed me off that he died a virgin. Damn it! That was pissed off scene number 1. He ends up, he goes to war against his father's, best, advice and best intentions. The father sends the other 2 brothers to go and watch over him. They wouldn't go in there, but he's like, watch over them, man. He's, he means well, but so anyway, for those of you who've seen it, if you're in this group, more than likely you've seen it. So I'm going to talk about it in its, entirety. So Brad Pitt is doing a fantastic job watching over the little brother, right? The little brother still feels like he has to, do his part to solidify his manlyhood or whatever the hell you want to call it. So he tells Brad Pitt, I'll catch up with you later, and ends up going off on a mission on his own, getting himself effectively killed. Yeah, that was the first tearjerker scene for me in that movie.
They kind of like, he ended up gaining a rank that was higher than his brothers, and then it seemed like everything he did was for respect. I want to do this for respect. I want to do this for respect. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. So his brother, Brad Pitt, was basically sunning him in front of everyone, like knocking his hat off his head in front of the other officers. And I guess he felt like, you know what? I'll show him. I'll show him I'm a brave soldier, because his rank wasn't supposed to really go out there. He was supposed to order the people to go out there and so on. So, what do I think about it? The cast was great. The storyline was very involving. I enjoyed it, but throughout the movie, I was questioning logic. Like the household was very unique for me. The father just would bark don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Why? Because I said so. No war in this house, right? So it was like there wasn't really any communication from father to son. It was just kind of just barking orders, and a lot of that
No,
was
but that came from experience. That came from his experience.
absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, he really didn't. If you notice, like, he wasn't really talking to his sons. Like, they kind of like raise each other, right? They grew up looking out for each other. They leaned on each other. Brad Pitt gives his younger brother advice about like getting some buns. He's like, "This is your wife," and he's like, "Listen, it's okay. You're a virgin. It's all right." So so I was very disappointed at what led, like, their bad decision making. It was very frustrating the way this girl had the brother that was willing to give her everything, was willing to give her what she was yearning, and she still wasn't happy because ultimately she wanted a kid. And then when she saw Brad Pitt, who came back and then ended up having a kid with another woman that he grew up with, like, it was devastating to her, especially since in her situation she didn't have a kid.
She couldn't, yeah.
She could, so it really messed with her. So the brother was a politician and Brad Pitt was a bootlegger, and they allowed him to operate because that was his brother. But at some point it was like, yo, we got to get rid of him. So they going behind the politician brothers back to get at Brad Pitt, and then they ended up killing his wife by trying to shoot a warning shot, which set him over. And then it really pissed me off when she decided to cut her hair and then get involved and kill the guy. And yeah, it was heroic. Yeah, it was her way of doing something for her love, but I felt like it was kind of pointless.
Yeah. And that's what really upset me about the whole movie. That whole relationship dynamic, it made me question, like, what was it about Brad Pitt that she liked so much, right? Besides that, he was good looking, right? I mean, he's really attractive. He has that, but I mean, what's love, right? What is love to a woman at that? What was love to her? Because when he goes off and he decides
he left.
Yeah, he left her, and he was like, she's like, "We need to come back." She's like, "I don't know. I'll be back when I'll be back."
She was loyally waiting at home with the dad.
Yeah, she told him, "I'll wait forever for you."
And
right?
then
he wrote the letter and said, the person I was is dead. Go marry another. She didn't necessarily break, because at first I thought she would wait forever. What happened? But he did tell her to go marry someone else. She kind of hit him with that snide remark. I guess forever was too long.
That comment, it gave the idea of him not coming back at all, because the father, no one knew if he was coming back. They didn't know what he was even going to get involved in. He was like on a ship sailing the seas. Like, honestly, he really had to find himself, and he came back a lot calmer, man. And I was surprised when he got with that girl from his youth.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. She's like, I think, what did he when her? No, it was before he even went off to war. She's jumping into Brad Pitt's arms. That's true.
Yeah.
Before she went on tour, she's like, "Oh, let me feel this guy. Let me pull him close." And then the older brother sees that. He's like,
"Yo,
what's wrong with me?"
He was thinking two things. Yo,
yeah,
she's supposed to be with my younger brother, and why did I get next?
Right.
But great movie, disappointing ending.
Oh yeah, that ending pissed me off with the bear.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then the bear, bro. Like, I was really looking for some symbolism, some deep symbolism, because early in the movie, as a kid, he had an altercation with a bear, and then the bear slept, injured him, and then he freaking took his knife and cut the bear's claw. Right?
I thought it meant something, right?
Oh, that's deep, because there was like these Native Americans there, and they were like, "Oh, you fought bear, okay, very strong. Yes, you guys are connected." And there was a point later on where he had the opportunity to kill that bear, and he had the gun on him, and they were laying on the floor, and it was like, "Yes, you guys are connected. Take care of him." And he just wouldn't pull the trigger, and then the guy says something to the extent of, "It's okay. You guys are one with each other." And then where now he moves on with his life, and then comes across the bear and gets killed. And the bear has a good meal, and the end. No symbolism. Big tease. I was like really waiting for. Listen, I didn't like the way this went with the brother. The brother died. The girl died. I didn't agree with that. But you know what? We have symbolism, and there was none.
Why do you think he was able to finally settle down with the young Indian girl and not her? Me, I think probably because she was Indian and he related more. He was raised by the Indian. Remember, the dad let the Indian pretty much raise
His kids.
his character. So I think it was a connection thing, like a cultural thing. I guess like as far as sociology is concerned, they teach us that we lean to we grow closer and we communicate with people who we find similarities with. So you think that's what it was? He didn't see like any similar something he couldn't connect with her on that level.
Maybe. A lot of times people gravitate to what they're used to.
Yeah.
What they're comfortable with. He truly needed to find himself. He needed a purpose. His purpose as he growing up was to protect his brother, his youngest brother, right? The older brother, he's good. He could take care of himself, right? When his brother died in war, he saved him. He ended up naming his son after him. He had this amazing connection with him, and he carried that guilt. So he had to literally almost like kill that side of him by literally throwing himself into the world. And once he did that and realized, listen, I've done that. I've come to terms with what happened, and I'm not going to beat myself up anymore. He was actually open to love, and then she was right there. I don't think it necessarily is what he was used to, being that he grew up with her, but I think it's more about timing. A lot of it is timing.
Right.
He was a person that really had these demons, and you can tell like he carried them, and you couldn't convince him otherwise. The father would try to talk to him. Everyone would try to talk to him. He did what he did. He left, and no one knew if he was coming back. He found himself. He came back. He became a dad. He was in love with his family, and he was that guy he was supposed to be.
Yeah. What do you call it? Another dynamic that I just thought about right now is between their parents, right? When the mother walked away from them.
Weird.
Yeah, she walked away from them because I guess she couldn't handle the the seasons when it got too cold.
Yeah.
Then one day she went to Florida and never came back.
You keep the kids. I'm going to the hot weather.
Yeah. So you think that that was probably in the back of Brad Pitt's head when he was like trying to deal with relationships? He didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that absolutely affected him. Some people aren't able to love correctly, and they have to learn. They have to kind of just like go through a bunch of bad relationships before they learn the error of their ways and learn that their behavior affects other people. And
Right.
it definitely does play a role.
Yeah, man. So with that said, I hope you're happy with the review. You pissed me off. It was a good movie. It was a great movie. I recommend you guys to watch it if you haven't seen it.
Good
It's
movie.
just really frustrating.
Anthony Hopkins. I can't believe I never heard of I like Anthony Hopkins a lot. I can't believe he had a stroke and he played that part well.
Yeah. I actually didn't like that.
There's just so much you can do. I was looking at it and I was just trying to look for he did different variations of it because he was getting better. But bro, it's really hard to control your face. And
I was trying it. Yeah.
Because while I was watching it, I ain't gonna lie, I was watching it, I was making faces to myself. Like I was trying to see if I could pull off what he was pulling off.
Right.
But it was a good movie. He got put on Brad Pitt got put on a map for that movie, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Remember John Delvin mentioned that. John Delvin has stated that's the movie that put Brad Pitt on the map.
And then he got Meet Joe Black, which is another great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Meet Joe Black is a great movie, but he went from that emotional movie to this emotional movie.
Yeah.
And then he married Jennifer Aniston and then left her.
That's good stuff.
He cheated. Yeah. So he's still soaking his royal oats.
Basically. All right, guys, man. With that said, man, we are gonna wrap this stuff up. We went way longer than we normally go, but we appreciate it, man. You guys are here enjoying this journey with us. You guys rock, and we appreciate you, man. We love doing the live show. We love being interactive with you guys. If you guys are not part of the Facebook group, click on the link in the description. Join that Facebook group. It's a great way to share our ideas and share our passions. We don't just talk about movies. We do TV shows. We do everything. We do a little bit of trivia from time to time. And again, if this is your first time watching us, subscribe, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Instagram, and you can listen to us on Anchor and anywhere podcasts are heard. Then all the links are in the description.
Yeah, I even put my mother-in-law, she heard that we were doing this, and she was like, "Oh, you're on TV? You're like, oh." So the next morning, she was like, "You're gonna show me that? You're gonna show it to me? Show it to me." So I put it. I went onto YouTube since I have a smart TV, and I typed in the episode, and it came up. And while we were watching it, the newest episode came up. So I put on the newest episode, the jail episode, for her. She was so impressed that she sees us screaming my face on the TV and everything else talking. And she's like, "I'm going to tell this person. I'm going to tell this person. I'm going to tell this person." She probably went to 7-Eleven, and while she's playing her numbers, she probably was like, "Yo, watch this." She know what it's called. You just know it's a podcast. But she was like, "I know someone who talks about movies."
And they're on television.
So, yeah, you can watch it on TV, too, so you don't have to look at your phone.
Yeah, basically. All right, man. You can sign us off, brother.
All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you guys until the next episode. I believe the next episode is going to be a Christmas episode because obviously we're in that month. So we're going to talk about Christmas movies. I'll be sure to put something in the room and put something online. So start working on those movies. There's a bunch of Christmas movies. So I'm looking forward to that. And guys, love what you do.
And do what you love, man. Take care and see you at the Facebook group. That's what we're going to rock after the show.
Peace, y'all.
When we can.
All right.
Yeah.